Hello everyone, I'm Dan from the Den, and welcome to Shooting the Shit. Now, I just got back from a showing of Avengers a while ago, and, well, it's been 5 years since the news first broke out about there being an Avengers movie. I mean, we've been essentially hyped to shit about this thing. We've been seeing, ever since the first Iron Man back in 2008, we have been seeing these post-credit scenes, which either has, like, Nick Fury coming in saying, I want to make you an Avenger, or we have something that kind of connects one film to the next, like Thor's hammer or a shield, or I don't know, or Tony Stark just coming in saying, we're going to have an Avengers movie. I mean, even the Captain America post-credit scene was a teaser for the Avengers, so Marvel has not been really subtle about saying, see the Avengers. It's coming out in 2012, and you're gonna damn well see it. And you're gonna damn well enjoy it. So, for this 5-year-long hype, and probably even more than 5 years, since I probably would assume that the Avengers has been in development hell for years, how is it? Well, in those 5 years, that big 5 years of hype, let me just say that this is totally fucking amazing. This is so good. This is a great movie. I'm gonna have this shit-eating grin to the day I die because I fucking loved the Avengers. I just came out of something I honestly still can't believe it was actually as good as I thought. I mean, everything that you've heard about from like all the critics and even like other things that have been posted about this movie are true. This thing is that good. This thing is really, really, really good. Every possible thing that you can see about this movie, it is across the board true. It is good. It is better than good. It is fantastic. It is great. I mean, this is the kind of movie that you want to see in the summer. This is that kind of big budget, fun movie that you really want to see. It is just so good. So good. I mean, not also is this one of the best Marvel movies that they've ever produced, like just one of the best movies that the whole Marvel studio in general has just produced. It's one of the best movies of this summer, and I'm going to say right now, it is neck and neck against the Dark Knight, one of the best comic book movies, like right up there with Dark Knight, just duking it out. Like, they are so equally close. I mean, of course, Dark Knight has a little bit more emotional content, but as far as like just pure enjoyment and just how extremely well they were both executed, they are both ranking on the same level. And just in case you haven't been following this stuff, and just in case you don't know, because you haven't seen any other movies or you haven't paid attention to the post-credit scenes, I'll essentially fill you in on what's going on. The whole premise is that Loki, who from the end of Thor, after getting sucked in a dimensional portal at the end of Thor, finds this group of aliens, and they sort of strike a bargain with him that if you get this device called the Triskelion, which was something that was used heavily in Captain America, also in the comic books, it's called the Cosmic Cube, and I'm just going to call it for the Cosmic Cube because honestly, I don't give a shit about calling it Triskelion because it is the Cosmic Cube. Henceforth, Cosmic Cube. Anyway, Loki, they promise him that if he's able to retrieve the Triskelion and open a portal, he will lead their army to conquer Earth, essentially. And, he steals the Triskelion. Actually, why am I saying Triskelion? Sorry. Cosmic Cube, the Cosmic Cube from S.H.I.E.L.D., which is this big secret spy organization that deals with all these big events like terrorist attacks and monsters and all this shit. And director Nick Fury, not knowing exactly how to handle this situation because it is almost too big for a couple of guys in skin-tight suits just with machine guns and lasers, he figures that the only way to handle this situation is to gather up all these other heroes, Iron Man, Captain America, the Hulk, Thor, Black Widow, and Hawkeye, to essentially find the Cosmic Cube and stop Loki. And Meanwhile, while they're doing that, Loki's just manipulating them to the point of like thinking of putting them on like edge, putting them in like tense situations, and just trying to basically either kill them or just separate them so far so they can't even be effective as a team. And really, one of the things that I thought was really not going to work against this movie was just how they were going to use these characters, because mostly with a movie like this that has like so many of these characters that fans really want to see, they always feel like they don't get to have enough screen time, they don't get to do enough in these films. I mean, look at the Resident Evil films, or even Spider-Man 3, for example. In the Resident Evil films, you have like Chris Redfield, and like just you're about to feel like, oh man, Chris Redfield's going to do this badass thing. Boom, Mila Jovovich pushes him out of the way and say, no, this is mine. Sorry about that, guys. That really doesn't happen in a lot of vlogs, huh? Fucking phones, huh? Yeah. Yeah, but speaking of being cut off from a moment, what I was going to say was that most of these characters that you usually see, like your Chris Redfields and fucking Venom, of course, they always feel like they get cut out of the equation. Like, you always feel like some other character comes in, pushes them out of the way, and goes, no, this is my moment. And then as a fan, you're just left going like, why did you even include them if they weren't going to do anything? I mean, Venom, for fuck's sake, he was there for about 5 minutes in total, just for one fight scene that barely did anything. But I can gladly say that with this movie, none of that really happened. I mean, every character got the right amount of screen time that they were given. They had the right amount of lines, they had the right amount of action, they all had really good, solid, badass moments that established why they're good characters. For example, I'm pretty sure that people walking into this might go like, someone who hasn't heard about the Marvel Universe or know about these characters too well, might look at Hawkeye and go like, Hawkeye? A guy who uses a bow and arrow to shoot shit? Well, who the fuck would do that? I mean, you got a giant green monster, you got a fucking dude with a shield, and a demigod with a green monster. When they're walking out of this movie, I feel that when they do, by the end of it, they'll have a good understanding of like why Hawkeye is a good character, but also just kind of say like, that dude with the bow and arrow, pretty fucking badass. And that's what I like about this. Each character gets their own moments. They each get moments that they need to develop their characters, moments that they need to establish how powerful and how well played they are in this team, and just they get moments that showcase that, yeah, they're awesome characters. They do. I mean, Hulk, for example. Oh my fucking god. And I don't really want to spoil anything about this movie because it's really best that people kind of come into this not knowing what's going on. But Hulk in this movie, there's a scene between him and Loki that is just, it is just so good. And especially Loki's reaction to the end of it. I just really, really, all I can say is like, it is. In fact, Hulk has like a lot of scenes like that in this movie. That is just amazing. But aside from having like these really good moments that establish them too, you really get the sense how these characters work, and they're all different characters. I mean, you have Captain America, who's essentially a soldier. He does whatever he's told to do. He always follows the government, the American way kind of thing. Always the solid blue patriot. You have Iron Man, who is, he's billionaire playboy. He doesn't really give a shit. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. He doesn't take really orders because he doesn't really need to take orders. I mean, he can just pay him off and, I don't need to take orders anymore. Instead, I'll just slide down a canoe from Mount Rushmore. Why? Because fuck you, I can. Because I'm just badass. He has that ego where he just really thinks he's amazing and awesome, and he doesn't really care too much, or he doesn't really take things as serious as he probably should. You have Bruce Banner / Hulk, who's really, he's a guy who can easily push into doing anything because he's just, he's not very powerful, so you could give him any orders and just push it on him, but at the same time, not to push him because he's essentially a time bomb that you don't really want to get pissed. You really don't. And, you have a demigod. You have a fucking god. The god of thunder. So, how that fucking works? I don't know. And even then, you have two assassins slash spies. I mean, Black Widow and Hawkeye. They're essentially like out of a Bourne movie, for fuck's sake. And and that is not a reference to the fact that Hawkeye is in the next Bourne movie, or at least the actor Jeremy Ryan. Ryan, I think it is, but I don't know. But not also are these characters different enough where they do clash with each other. They really do clash with each other. I mean, there's a scene where they're bickering amongst each other, and Loki's kind of like manipulating them to bicker with each other, and it gets pretty fucking heated. I mean, it gets like tense and heated when they are bickering with each other. They joke around with each other. They don't really take each other kind of serious. I mean, for example, Stark, when he first sees Thor, he's like, "Dost thou, mother, know thou is wearing her drapes?" Or, he's like looking at Captain America, he's like, "I can't believe my dad followed such a geek, such a dork," or something like that. And, they do clash with each other, and what makes it so much, because, again, they are different characters. And that's what works best, is they are different characters. I mean, that was a problem that I knew was going to face the movie, but I was surprised that it didn't, because, again, you have all these characters, and it's kind of weird how you'd work them in. I mean, billion-dollar playboy invents a suit of armor, God of Thunder, dude who transforms into a giant green monster, and a soldier from 1942 who was frozen and then came in 2012. I'm just surprised that they made it work. They really made it work. But aside from the clashing, it really is amazing just to see these characters come together, especially by the end when they're coming together and they're fighting this threat. You really see their roles play out. You really get to see how they interact with each other and how they play off each other and how they work as a team. I mean, Captain America, who I gotta give credit, Chris Evans did a great job as Captain America. He even went above and beyond what he did in the last movie. I mean, this one, you felt like he was really Captain America. I mean, he's giving orders like, "Hawkeye, go up on that roof and take out any riders. Black Widow, you're going to stay here with me so we can help civilians on the ground. Hulk, just smash it. Iron Man and Thor, you take out some of the Sky Riders and just report around here." I mean, you really see him being in active role. You really see Stark you really see Iron Man, who, again, Robert Downey Jr. does a good job, and it really, I think people were kind of might have been worried because in Iron Man 2, he didn't really seem as cocky or as jokey as he did last time. But here, he's up to perfect form. He is the Iron Man we all loved from the first movie, and he's just pitch perfect. I mean, Chris Hemsworth is just as good as Thor. Jeremy Irons, not Jeremy Irons, but Jeremy Ryan. Please inform me if you can who his actor is. I feel really bad that I'm fucking up his name. Does really good as Hawkeye, and you would and especially with what Hawkeye goes through in this movie, he does really, really a top-notch job with working what he's given, and what he's working with is really good. And especially Scarlett Johansson, who I thought in Iron Man 2, I really don't know how I could see this character work out. Here, I can perfectly see how she works out in this movie, and she just really was the Black Widow. She really was Black Widow. And even Mark Ruffalo, oh my god. I mean, I was worried when they did say they were going to replace Edward Norton, because I really did think Edward Norton did a great job in that movie. But here, he is just great. I even think better than Edward Norton, because he gets that really, on the one hand, he's not as perfect as the other heroes. I mean, he's shorter, he's not as attractive, he's kind of stubbly. He's the kind of guy he looks like the kind of guy you could easily push into something and would not really put up a fight, which is a great contrast to when he does turn into a giant green fucking monster who pushes back. And he just did a really good job, even to the point where he was acting really nervous and kind of shy and just very unsocial, where he's please just don't push me there, guys. Please, I don't want to really go there. I don't really want to go there, kind of guy. And he just went above and beyond. Even the Hulk in this one, oh my god, compared to the way the Hulk looked, where the first film, he looked like fucking Shrek. Honestly, he was so goddamn green where he was Shrek. And then in the Incredible Hulk, where he had the Tom Cruise haircut, which I didn't really mind too much, but he looked decent in that. Here, flat out looks like the fucking Hulk. He looks like the Hulk, feels like the Hulk. I gotta give credit. They made him the fucking Hulk. And even the villain, who I'm not going to talk about the other villains because the alien race, because honestly, they're just there to get their asses beat up by the Avengers, so I don't really mind them so much. They're the putties of this movie, only deadlier and actually kind of efficient. But Loki in this one, who is played by Tom Riddleston, I think. I know his first name is Tom, and I might be fucking his name up again, but anyway, he did really good as Loki. Even again, expanding upon what he did in Thor and just taking it even better. I mean, you get the sense that not also is he just like world domination and I will rule over humanity like a little bun, like they are my little cretins. But you also kind of get sympathy for the guy because essentially he's kind of led into a situation that he doesn't really want. At least, like, that's what I kind of infer. Like, he doesn't really exactly want to be pushed into this situation, but you kind of feel like this alien race has him really under their thumb, whereas, like, if you don't do this, we will seek you out in the galaxy and fucking destroy you. And, you know, we also still see that, like, inferiority complex from Thor, where he's always feeling like he's in the shadow of Thor because, you know, he's still dealing with the fact that he's actually a frost giant. Which, again, that's not really a spoiler. If you know Loki, it's not a spoiler. I mean, you had enough time to see Thor, for fuck's sake, so no spoiler on that one. And he's just really kind of dealing with that, and, like, even Thor, like, is kind of dealing with stuff, too, because in the movie, he's just, like, trying to go, like, come on, Loki, stop doing this, man. We're brothers. Come on. Like, quit this shit out and just come home. And, you know, and you see just how far gone Loki is and just how much he's just gone to, like, the big, fuck you, everybody. In fact, in a way, Tony Stark kind of gets it right because he actually compares Loki to a diva. And it really does make sense. He seems like that kind of guy. Like, he's sympathetic, but at the same time, he kind of seems like that kid from, like, any one of the kids from Super Sweet 16 where, like, Odin would get him a high-class blue chariot, and he'd be the guy who's like, a blue chariot? I never wanted blue. I wanted a green chariot. Thor would get a green chariot, and I hate you, Odin. You ruined my life. Or, you know, that kind of just like, I want everything kind of guy. But at the same time, he's still an effective villain, despite being kind of a bitch. And Nick Fury in this one, I always had a thing where I thought Sam Jackson was not really going to be, like, up to par, especially for, like, Nick Fury. Even, like, in Iron Man 2 and, like, that little scene, like, I'm not really seeing a lot of, like, Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. This one totally nails it. And he even brings that Sam Jackson, like, that Sam Jackson attitude that we all love. I mean, he even gets a fire guns in this one, so hey. Not also that, and again, he gets to bring some Sam Jackson to it. Like, you know, there's really a scene where he's just, like, kind of looking at the Avengers and like, just shut the fuck up, everyone, because I have had it with all these motherfucking superheroes on my motherfucking helicarrier. And he nailed it. I can't wait to, hopefully we'll see him in other movies. And just, like, again, the sheer volume of this movie, I mean, it's great to be a Marvel fan, just see all these things like the Cosmic Cube. It's really great to see Loki and Thor just duking it out. It's really good to see, like, Hulk fighting some of the Avengers and then teaming up and just smashing shit. And it's just really cool. I mean, when I first saw the fucking helicarrier, I kind of lost my shit because as a comic book fan, you're just thinking, like, that's what it is. That's just how you picture it. Now, I could just gush over everything that this movie did really well. I could really gush over. And I'm speaking as a guy who's not a big Joss Whedon fan, but, well, except for, like, Firefly, Serenity, and Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. But otherwise, I thought he did really well. He did a really good script. He really directed this well. And just, he did a fantastic fucking job. And I hope he comes back to do more. I really do. It'd be a shame if he didn't, because this guy totally fucking gets how to make an Avenger movie. And even if I'm not a huge fan of, like, Buffy, Angel, or any of that shit, I will fully say that he needs to come back and do an Avengers movie. Get him now. But aside from all of, like, the positives, you know, the action, the character interaction, the comedy, and just, like, the effects and everything, there is a couple of things that I didn't like about it. And these things are so minor that they just, like, fly over everyone else's head. But they're just little problems. But they're little problems that don't detract. One of them is, and ironically, they relate to two characters from the same franchise, is that Thor kind of just comes back. Like, they don't really fully explain how Thor comes back. He just kind of comes back. Like, they give an explanation, but it's sort of a blink and you miss it kind of explanation. I mean, literally, in the movie, it's kind of like, aha, so I see Odin gathered enough dark energy to basically bring you back to Midgard, because at the end of Thor, Midgard's, the Rainbow Bridge basically is destroyed, and, Thor can't get back to Midgard, or Earth, as I might say. And, Heimdall gives the big thing of, there's always another way, Thor. So, that could be it, but it just felt weird to just say, Odin must have given you dark matter, so you came back. And, even with another problem too is Loki, where I think they could have explained how he got into that situation with the aliens a bit more, like how he essentially became their bitch to get this cosmic cube and become leader of their squad. Like, they show a flashback kind of to it and him kind of making the deal, but I really wish they could have shown how that happened. I mean, because literally right after, at the end of Thor, we see Loki just kind of go through this portal and, but they assume he's dead. They assume he's dead, and really, it just doesn't really make sense. Like, I would really like to see how he got into that situation, just a bit more, just to kind of clear things. Because as an audience member and watching it, I could understand exactly probably how he got himself in that situation. It doesn't probably take a genius, but just a little bit clear would have been nice. And even then, too, another problem, just a tiny little problem is, like, on that note, too, how did Thor really know about what Loki was going to do? Like, how he was going to summon this army and get the cosmic cube and then come to Earth and basically just fuck shit up. I mean, that was the one thing that, like, I never really got. They didn't really explain how he knew about that, let alone that he knew that Loki was still alive. I mean, he assumed that Loki was dead, but I guess Heimdall, maybe? I'm probably sure Heimdall just probably said, Loki's still alive, and he's going to get a cosmic cube and team up with aliens and fuck up the Earth or something. And that prompted him to come back, but I'd probably say that those are probably in, like, deleted scenes or something, and they probably, like, at least clear or expand upon that a little bit more, but other than that, they're really not hard problems that detract from the energy and just the excitement and just the pure enjoyment level of this film. I mean, they can just be looked over and you wouldn't really care. You really wouldn't care. But there's just some problems that I wish were cleared a bit more. But honestly, I can't really say anything else about Avengers. This is a really good movie. If you're a Marvel fan, you're going to love to see this movie. If you're a semi-Marvel fan and just been following these movies, you're going to be a big fan. If you just love big action summer movies that are just fun as shit, you're going to love this thing. I cannot think of really anyone who wouldn't really love this one. Except probably the New York Times, but Sam Jackson served that guy well. He gave that guy a good peace of mind. But yeah, see Avengers, really good film, really good way to start this summer, and I'm really excited, although I'm having a hard time seeing how some of the other movies might live up to this one. Just a little bit. I mean, Dark Knight, I probably could see. I mean, if they're going to do what I think they might do for The Dark Knight Rises, possibly, but it depends on if they do it and how they're going to handle it, because I will give them credit if they do, and that might boost it up. But either way, I mean, it is kind of a hard act, because I really don't see how any other film might top this one. But it could be possible. I mean, who knows? Again, funny things have happened, but yeah, there's just nothing else I can really say. This is a really good fucking movie.